Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Ragamuffin Speaks. I feel pretentious calling them episodes, but what else am I going to say? Yes, so I should mention that I've just hit 10,000 posts on Tumblr. Not that anybody cares, but I have. Way! Far more exciting than the royal wedding that approaches. Anyway, I'm just going to get on and answer the question this episode, which comes from Classy in the City, who until recently was Faded Night. Why do men treat women like shit, and why are women attracted to those kind of men? Yes. Okay. Well, I think the first thing to say is that all men don't treat women like shit. A lot of them do, but they don't all. I know a lot of the guys that Classy in the City has dated over the last year have treated her like shit. That's true, but I also know that not everyone she's dated has treated her like shit. Anyway, why do a lot of men treat women like shit? I think there's a lot of reasons. I don't just want to say guys are arseholes. A lot of guys are arseholes. And I think one of the reasons I have generally a lot more female friends and prefer the company of women to men is that when men start talking about women, I get uncomfortable because I don't like the way they talk about them. Generally, I don't like the attitude that a lot of guys have. Where does that attitude come from? I don't know. Does it stem from the portrayal of women in the media, or are women portrayed in the media that way because that's the attitude that men have? I don't know. Certainly, if you look at the music industry, or music in general, I think we've seen certainly a regression in the way that women are portrayed in popular music over the past 10-20 years. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm a big fan of hair metal. Everybody knows that. And yes, there's a certain misogynistic element to some of those songs. Yes, to some bands. But I think there is also an element of a kind of adoration of women in there as well. I think a lot of modern music takes misogynistic element to a new and uncomfortable level of kind of real hatred and objectification. The whole pimps and hoes thing. How can it be good to be a pimp? How can it be good to boast about sleeping with prostitutes if you have to pay for it? Not good. So I don't understand that. I don't understand why you'd want to listen to music that express those kind of attitudes. That all women are there for is to gratify men, and that's it. That's the sole purpose of them, and that they should always dress and behave and exist basically to please men, and that's that. I don't like it. I really don't. I could get in and talk about comics, but I've decided I'm not going to talk about comics. I've been challenged to not talk about comics for a podcast, so vlog, whatever this thing is, vlog, thingamajig. So I'm not going to talk about the trailer women in comics. That we can do that another time. So I don't know why do men treat women like shit. And you could argue, I guess, from a psychological point of view, men are generally raised and nurtured by their mothers and come to see women as being there in the form of their mother to meet their needs and to gratify them. And so that attitude prevails. But I don't know. I think that's nonsense. Why do men treat? Because men are selfish bastards, and a lot of women are selfish too. And a lot of women treat men like shit. So, finding nice, unselfish people is hard. I think the question ultimately is, why are so many people selfish and self-centered, and why is it so hard to find people who aren't? Maybe. So why are women attracted to men that treat them like shit? That's a good question. And one I've asked myself a lot, and it's hard to answer this without attracting accusations of suffering from nice guy syndrome. But all I'll say is, I think all I can do is speak for myself. I am nice to women, and I'm nice to men. I treat them well, treat everybody well, and I'm nice. Well, I'm not always. There's some people I'm nasty to, but they deserve it. But no. Sorry. I'm nice to people because I'm nice to people. I'm not because I expect anything back. And I know that there is a certain kind of man who has that attitude of, I treat you nice, so you owe me something now, and that's bollocks. So fuck them, or don't fuck them. That's the point. I don't want to get accused of nice guy syndrome here, but I have had somebody crying on my shoulder after having been abused by their arsehole boyfriend, and saying to me, why can't he be more like you? Which, that's a kick in the nuts if ever there is one. And you're kind of left there feeling, but I'm more like me. I'm so much more like me that I am actually me. So if you want somebody like me, how about me? But that's not the point, because if the girl wanted that, then she would have that. But that's, if he was more like me, you wouldn't want to be with him, is the answer to that question. It's true. So the question remains: why then are women attracted to arseholes and not to nice guys? And if we're honest, there are plenty of girls out there who do like nice guys and don't want some arsehole who's gonna punch them in the stomach because they think they might be pregnant. True story. Happened to a friend of mine. Why are they? I'll talk a bit about, I think, Beauty and the Beast, the Disney film, which is a good film, and I like it. I'm going to say that. I need to make that very clear now. I'm not attacking the film and saying it's shit, or that it's... On the surface, it's sending out a great message, which is that you should not judge people by appearances or first impressions. You should get to know them, get to know the real person, and that it sometimes takes time to fall in love with somebody. It's not all about love at first sight and all that. And it has the character Gaston there, who is a great example of an arsehole man who treats women like crap, and balances the Beast out nicely, who seems to be that way on the surface, but underneath he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and Belle eventually, she finds that, and she sees that in him, and she falls in love with him, and that's great. That's wonderful. The problem comes when you get out into the real world, and girls meet a guy who they think of as the Beast and is Gaston. Is it Gaston? I'm going to feel silly if it's not Gaston. There you go, it's a long time since I've seen the film. Because I think most guys, when on the surface they seem to be the Beast, underneath that, deep down, they're still the Beast. And you hear that whole, oh, you don't know what he's like when we're alone, he's a really nice guy when we're alone, he treats me well, and then that leads on to the, oh, he's promised he'll never hit me again, so on. And then you get the crying on the shoulder and the, why can't he be more like you? So I think a lot of it, why women are attracted to those kind of men, is perhaps the whole, well, I know what he's really like, and I know that deep down inside he just needs me, and I will bring out the nice guy in him, and I can change him, and because God knows women like their projects. And so do men. I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of it in the past. trying to ride in like the knight in shining armour and save people. But anyway, I don't want to get too personal here, and I already have, but there you go. So yeah, there's that, and there's the element of, a nice guy is boring. Let's be honest. We're dull. There's an excitement. There's a certain excitement to the dangerous guy, the mysterious guy, the guy who's angry and brooding and all that sort of stuff. Mysterious, and you want to plumb the depths and get to know. And he's tortured, and it's the Heathcliff syndrome. And I never understood why people think Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights is in any way sexy, because he's an arse. He's a git. He's not a nice guy. But that's the point, and that's what people find attractive. So, yeah, I think, there's a lot of reasons, basically, why women are attracted to those kind of men. Sometimes it's annoying your parents. Sometimes it's just because you're young and you haven't learnt yet that that's not really a good thing. All that mystery and the danger and all that is exciting, but at the end of the day you end up in tears and hurting, and but then again, the media has taught us that that's how love should be. It should be crying yourself to sleep at midnight and angst and and all that stuff, instead of just being nice, And at the end of the day, sometimes that's what you kind of want. Niceness. It's so bland, but I'm not that nice, actually. I'm sure there's some people who will tell you that I'm not 100% nice. But yeah, I guess that'll do. I mean, it's a huge subject, and I probably will get flamed massively for 90% of the things I've said here. But there you go. Why do men treat women like shit, and why we're attracted to those kind of men? Ultimately, I don't flipping know. If I knew that, then I probably wouldn't be single. But there you go. Goodbye. Abiento. Don't flame me too hard.